Hello everybody, so welcome back to another Jamie's Adventures video. This one's a little bit different. We are at the car park of the October version of the Motorhome and Caravan show at the NEC in Birmingham. And we're here because we're campervanless again. We sold Dusty, he wasn't right, and yeah, it's just one of those things that I think if you know he's not right, then you need to get rid of him. So we're campervanless again. I couldn't stand up in him, couldn't sit up in him. There was good bits, but it wasn't perfect. So we're here having a look at campervans.
I'm Jamie. I've never been a 9 till 5 guy, and seeking out new experiences has always called to me. Whether it's micro or something a bit bigger, join me on my next adventure.
And we're going to play a little game, because we want to sort of do it a little bit more scientifically and try and find out the best camper van for us. And we're sort of semi-specific about what we want, because we want to, well, I would like to work and travel the world, but Europe in general and the UK. And our work, you know, I don't know if you know what we do for a living, but we have a video production company with quite heavy lights and gear and all this sort of thing, all the way around Europe and England, sort of filming businesses, sometimes quite dry stuff, but it's always quite heavy gear, basically, cinema cameras and lights and all that sort of thing. So we need something that can take a decent payload as well. Anyway, what we've done, if you pass me your phone, honey,
there you go.
We've made some notes about what we want to do. So it needs to have a garage and size of garage. So
important.
Is important, yeah.
It's got to be big enough.
The engine power, I don't like a rubbish engine power. That's one of the reasons why we sold our first camper van, Snowy, because the engine power was awful and going up hills was terrible. Dimensions, we don't really want a motorhome. It's more of a camper van.
Yeah.
Mainly because we like going down, you know, Wales and Scotland and that sort of thing. Height, I'm not too bothered about, but it's more the width that I'm worried about.
But we want to be able to stand up in it.
We definitely want to stand up in it.
Like we could in our first camper van, but not in the second camper van.
Exactly. The layout inside, of course. Off-grid power, batteries and solar, very important. Off-road capability, I'd really like to be more off-grid and, you know, not just on tarmac. Payload, again, like I said, because we've got to take quite a bit of gear if we're going to work in and around Europe and things. And then obviously value for money. I just knocked the camera. Value for money, because, you know, we sort of know, because we bought the van before and got it done up inside, we sort of know, you know, van prices, and then we sort of know how much it will cost to get it done up inside. So we want to know, because that's still an option, isn't it, to buy a van and do it up inside. So value for money is a key point as well. So what we're going to do, we're going to go around the show, we're going to look at loads of vans and things, and then we're going to, all those things I just said, we're going to mark them out of 10, shall we?
Yeah.
And see if we can, at the end of the day, see if we can work out scientifically which is the best van for us. And obviously all these vans are brand new as well. So, I mean, the best thing to do is have a van that we see in here that's a couple of years old, that's, you know, that you can buy second-hand with a low mileage.
But see what's new to the market as well, because last year when we came, we discovered a 4x4 camper that's much better value than other ones that are like almost identical. We didn't even know it existed until we went to the show. So I'm really interested to see if there's anything new that we can have a look at. And I just like lying on the bed, looking at the kitchens. Like, I like the interior stuff. That's my thing.
Okay. So again, just a reminder, these are the points that we're going to look at. Garage and the size of the garage. Engine power. Dimensions. The layout inside. Off-grid power, batteries and solar, etc. Off-grid capability. Payload. And value for money. So, the car park's getting busy. We're bursting for PPs, aren't we?
Because not that you need to know that.
Because we had too much coffee on the 3-hour drive up. And we're going to go and have some fun and, yeah, come and follow us at the NEC Birmingham. That was good, wasn't it?
It was really good. We saw a lot of vans. We're quite tired now.
Yeah, very tired. So what we're going to do, what we've decided, is we're actually heading to North Wales for a weekend of hiking, and then we're going to discuss our vans we looked at that we were interested in, and give them the marks out of 10 for each category.
Yeah, and
Okay.
there's a few in there, and there's a couple of curveballs as well, like
Yeah.
unexpected things.
Exactly.
So we are back, and we had a lovely stay up in North Wales, wasn't it?
It was beautiful. We had the best day of the weekend, beautiful sunshine, autumnal weather. It was lovely, wasn't it?
Yeah, great stuff. So Sarah's with me. She's not normally in these sort of videos, but I thought as it's your van as well,
Yeah.
you should be involved in the decision making. And we've made our little list, as you can sort of see here, but I'll put some graphics up on screen, and we're going to go through each van so you can be in charge of pens. We can, and I've got my laptop here so we can remind ourselves of the footage we took as well at the show. So let's get straight into it. So what was our
Okay.
first van?
So the first van that we looked at, as soon as you walked in the show, Ford Transit Trekker X.
So yeah, it was a nice van, wasn't it?
And I think they're definitely trying to go for like maybe a younger person looking for a bit of adventure, because the whole vibe of the van is definitely like adventure with the
Yeah.
livery.
Yeah, I like it. I
Yeah.
like it. But let's go through it. So
Yeah, okay, so our criteria, the first one that we wanted to look at, super important for us, is that the van has a garage and that it's a decent size garage and it's like practical for all our work stuff and all of our like hiking stuff as well.
So out of 10, 1 being the worst and 10 being the best, garage for the Trekker.
I reckon it would be like a 7 because it was good.
Yeah.
So let's go with 7.
Okay, yeah, let's go with 7.
And then the engine power.
This was good on this one, was it?
Yeah.
I think it was 165 or 170 brake horsepower.
It's 165. I've got some notes on my phone. 165 brake horsepower, which is good.
Yeah, really good. That's a 9, I think,
Yeah.
for me.
Okay. And dimensions. So thinking about obviously the outside of the van and the inside as a
And this is the
slightly
Trekker
separate.
X as well.
Yeah.
Because there's a smaller Trekker. This is the Trekker X, isn't
Yeah.
it? So it's a little bit longer.
Yeah.
But it's good. You can fit in car parks.
I thought the
Fine.
dimensions were good. On the outside, it definitely was a good size.
Yeah.
It wasn't too big. So what do you reckon? 8?
Oh, okay, 8, yeah.
Yeah. And then that brings us on to the layout on the inside. I personally found it a little bit tight, like between the bathroom and the kitchen, for example.
Yeah.
It was really a bit of a squeeze, and you'd have to be like one person in, one person out with that. So I wasn't quite so keen on the layout. But then you
Okay.
get a lot of headroom at the front of the
You
van.
do, yeah. And you can take 4 people.
Yeah.
Because
So it sleeps 4,
it's got the pop top.
but it's only got 2 seatbelt points.
No, it's got 4.
Has it got 4?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
There's 4 people travelling.
Yeah, all right then. Okay, so that's a massive plus then. So what do we reckon? Oh yeah, that is 4
Yeah.
seatbelt points. Yeah. I doubted you. So yeah, that's really good then. So I think I can forgive the little bit being a bit slim on the inside.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so what do we reckon? An 8
What for dimensions?
on the inside, layout inside.
I think 7.
Okay. Why
Because
7?
of the thinness, like you just said.
Oh, okay. All right then. Let's go with 7. So the next.
We can't be too generous.
No, okay. The off-grid power, like inside the van, what kind of battery setup do you have to be able to maybe not have to always hook up, like, and stay
What
at
was
a
it?
campsite and that sort of thing? So with this van in particular, they didn't have anything listed on the like criteria outside the van, because they all have like a little sort of sales thing outside, don't they? And there wasn't anything, so I think it might be safe to assume that it's just like a standard.
Solar panel, 1 battery.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go 5.
Yeah. Okay.
4 or 5. 5.
And then
Off-road capability.
Yeah, off-road capability. It's obviously not a 4x4.
So, not very good. 3.
Yeah. And then
Payload.
yeah.
So the payload was terrible on this, I think, wasn't it? It was, and that's the thing with, spoiler alert, we're sort of realising that the 3.5 ton vans, the payload, because of the gear we want to take with us for working purposes, 3,500 kilogram vans aren't amazing with payload.
No.
Like I think it had like 300 kilograms.
I think, well, my notes say 370 kilos payload.
That's fine
for most people, but for us,
Yeah.
I don't think so. But because you put 3 people in,
Yeah.
and then you haven't got much for gear, have you?
No.
So I think,
2.
yeah, but
That's-
again, it's one of those things that
But it's our van. It's like, this is specific to us,
exactly.
isn't it?
All right, so it's
let's go 2.
okay. All right.
Harsh. Okay, and then that brings us on to value for money.
I think it's a bargain. How much was it?
So the van that we looked at, so the X,
The Trekker
the
X.
Trekker X, the bigger one, £73,000.
Okay, which, if you think the new Ford Transit would be what, 45 grand probably to buy, brand new,
Maybe more.
without the,
Well, not a camper van.
campervan. I think that's a bargain.
Okay, so what do we reckon? Value for money.
I think that's a 9.
Okay, 9 it is. Okay, so
We'll do the totals at the end, by the way.
so the Ford Trekker, done.
So next, because we don't want this video to be too long, so
No.
let's go through them.
So the next van that we looked at was the Boxdrive 680 ME.
Oh, I like this one.
Yeah, I like this one too.
This had a great garage.
Yeah.
Really great garage. Lifting bed as well.
Yeah. Oh,
And you
yeah.
slept long ways as
Yeah,
well.
sleeping long ways is a really, really big plus point as well, because we've had 2 vans so far. One sleeping, is it traverse, like side to side, which isn't really big enough, or the other one was sleeping lengthways, and that was so much more comfortable and a real like game changer for us. So that's a real plus point. So let's go garage and size of garage. That was really
I think
good.
that's top marks.
10.
I think so, yeah.
Okay. So moving on to engine power, 163 brake horsepower.
Yeah, good.
So that is another 9, I reckon, because that's only like 2 off the Ford Trekker. So the dimensions of the van, this is a MAN, whatever you say, base as well,
Yeah.
this one, which I understand to be good quality. I'm not quite
Yeah,
the expert that
it's,
you are,
so
but
it's a V-dub, isn't it?
yeah,
It's basically the same as the Crafter, isn't it?
yeah. But it looks solid. It looked really good quality.
Yeah.
So dimensions of that were good. What do you reckon?
It's a longer van,
Yeah.
longer than the Trekker, for instance. So it's like in car parks, you're sticking out a little bit.
Yeah.
But, wild camping and stuff, it's irrelevant, isn't it? And I
Yeah.
quite like it because you get more space inside.
Yeah.
So I think it's high marks.
Okay, so 9.
Dimensions, there's downsides to having it a long van though, isn't it? I don't think it
Yeah.
can be,
Okay, 8.
yeah, I think so.
Okay. And then layout on the inside. I thought this was a really nice layout. It was really spacious. It's got 4 seatbelt points. It only sleeps 2, so
Oh, yeah,
that's a bit of a downside because we sometimes have our
Boy,
son with us who he's a teenager and he's, not always coming with us.
But yeah,
but-
so that's lacks marks.
Yeah, so that does drop it down because it's nice to have the option.
Yes, layout inside is
7 or 6?
6.
6, okay. Off-grid capability, it doesn't really... Oh, it has a diesel heater,
Yep, that's
which
good.
is good. But apart from that, it is...
Yeah, that's important to us actually. We
Yeah.
like a diesel heater, and actually it's not on one of our lists, so we just have to put that in
Yeah.
the off-grid capability sort
Because
of.
again, the first van we had didn't have a diesel heater, which was a bit of a pain in the winter. And the second van we had did have a diesel heater, and it was amazing.
Yeah, exactly. So what's the,
So off-grid capability.
but not 4x4.
It's not 4x4. It just has
So-
standard leisure battery. There's no solar panel on
5
there,
or
is there?
6.
So let's go 5. And it would have been lower had it not had the diesel heater. Off-road capability, again, there is no off-road capability.
Yeah, so
It's
whatever
just,
it was before.
yeah,
3.
3. Payload was about 700 kilos on
Yeah,
this.
because it's a larger van, isn't it?
Yeah.
Is it a 4,100 kilogram
Yeah.
van? And luckily enough, and that's one of the reasons why I've done my C1 license. When was it, last year?
It was the beginning of this year,
Beginning
actually.
of this year. So there's a video about that on my channel. So check that out if you want to. But that's one of the reasons why I've done the C1 license, is so that we can have more choice on the payload and the size of van that we can
Yeah.
use. So that's good.
Yeah.
So payload, high marks.
8.
Yeah.
Okay. And then value for money, this van came in at, the one that was at the show that we looked at was just over £84,000. So it's not as good value as the Trekker.
Not too bad. I think for the quality of that.
The quality, I think, is nicer. So I don't think it's too far off.
Yeah.
Maybe a 7.
Yeah.
Okay. Right then, that brings us on to the Expedition 600 MQ, which we looked at last year and we did think was really cool.
I love this one.
Yeah, and we looked at this again.
This one.
So it's a very, like, wow.
Yeah, and you'll,
van.
again, spoiler alert, whenever I see a Merc 4x4, I dribble a little bit.
Yeah.
I just absolutely love them.
Yeah. So this is a real adventure van.
Yeah.
It's
so let's go for it.
Yeah. Okay. So obviously great size garage. So let's go.
Not amazing though. Oh no, this was a good one,
It was
wasn't
a
it?
good size garage.
Yeah. So good marks for this
9
one.
or a 10?
Yeah. Not a 10. I think 10's got to be like. No.
Okay, 9. So engine power. It's 190 brake horsepower.
Yeah. That's a 9. Well, no, that's a 10. I think.
That's a 10.
Yeah.
Dimensions. So it's a slightly smaller van. The wheelbase.
But it's the smaller Mercedes, isn't it? Not
Yeah.
the long wheelbase. It's the medium wheelbase.
Yeah.
So which is good for like parking and all that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But bad for livability, if you like.
Yeah, it would be slightly tighter if you were in there together for a long period of time. There's not a lot
what
of
do you
room.
think?
I reckon a 7.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. The layout on the inside. So I actually, although it is slightly smaller, I thought the layout was really nice. And from like a design point of view, it looks really beautiful.
Yeah,
and
I did as well.
absolutely loved the little kitchen, the little washroom. It was like really nicely designed. So I was quite into that.
Yeah. Go for it.
So that is 8.
Yeah.
Okay, off-grid capability. Obviously, this is an adventure van. It's 4x4.
Inboard
It's-
water.
Yeah, inboard water. So from
Did they have a diesel heater? Did we know? We don't know, do we?
we don't know, but it's a proper
Oh,
off-grid
let me
van.
just pause this video to see if it does or not. Truma Combi D. Yeah. Diesel
Okay,
heater.
okay. So it's got the power capability like inside the van, and it's 4x4, so it's
I
got
think it's
outside as well.
off-grid power.
So off-grid capability and off-road capability, I think it scores 10 out of 10
10
in
out of
both
10, yeah.
categories. So we can quickly move on
Okay.
to payload for this one. So I don't think we could actually work that out, could we?
No, because it had weird. It was like they didn't have the right technical. The sheet outside wasn't
Yeah.
right because they talked about it being a Mercedes Sprinter rear-wheel drive. That see that there,
Yeah.
but that's not what that was.
No. So the payload is a bit of a question mark on this one. So I think, should we just give it like a 7 or something?
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Value for money. So this was listed at 110.
10,000.
Yeah, £110,000. So that's a lot of money, really, isn't it?
It's a lot of money.
You get a Mercedes 4x4.
But again, what you've got to think of, and we're coming up with a couple of other Mercedes upcoming, aren't we?
Yeah. We did look at quite a few Mercedes
We looked
Sprinters.
at a lot of Mercedes Sprinters. I think they capture my eye. So the value for money is we know that to buy them without the camper van inside, they're £80,000 alone, aren't they?
Yeah.
So what you've got to think is how much, if you bought the van and how much you'd spend doing it up
Yeah.
to how much they're charging.
Yeah. Which we did on our last van. We bought the van and then we had it
So
converted.
value for money, I think that's good value for money.
Yeah, and it's a beautiful interior and it's got so many extras on the outside
Yeah.
as well that it would be like if you were
Yeah,
going to
it's
do
not
it
top
yourself.
marks, but
yeah,
it's good.
7.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, cool. So that brings us on to a van that we've looked at on and off over the years because it's a bit of a classic. The Adria Twin 640 SGX. Sports.
We like this one.
Yeah. So the garage was amazing on this, wasn't it? The size of it.
Yeah.
So let's give that, is that a 9 or a
Because
10?
it was a racing bed, wasn't it?
Yeah. I
was-
feel like it could be another 10 because you could stand up underneath the bed
Yeah,
when it's
it's really
raised,
good.
which could be like a little working space.
Yeah. So I think 10.
10.
Engine power,
So it's 180 brake horsepower.
which is great.
Yeah, that is good. So what do you reckon? 9?
9, yeah.
Okay. Dimensions of the van. So it's like your standard Fiat Ducato base,
because
isn't it?
our first camper van, Snowy, was exactly the same size, wasn't it? It's
Yeah.
6.5 metres.
6.3.
I think it's 6.39 actually, 6.4. And we had no problems parking or driving it around, did we?
It was fine.
Yeah, so that's good marks.
So 8,
Yeah,
a solid 8. And then the layout on the inside.
it's good.
It was really good. And it's 4 seatbelt points, it's 4 berth.
Pop top?
It's got a pop top, which I like a pop top.
Yeah.
The bathroom was great. The kitchen was great. And it felt spacious.
I think it's top marks.
Yeah. And the way that it's like black and white, most of it's white, so it feels bigger on the inside as well. So off-grid power capabilities, it's got a solar panel, but that's about it. So that's probably like...
Oh, but it had inboard, I think, did it have inboard water? I can't remember.
No.
I can't really remember about that.
I think that's probably a 6 because it's definitely more of a standard kind of camper van.
Off-road capability.
Well...
It's the same as everything else bad, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because it's just a normal.
So it's a 3.
Yeah.
And the payload on this was amazing. Yeah. So what do you reckon
Which
that
is top marks for, and the size of the garage and the payload for all our gear.
Yeah.
That actually works really well.
Yeah.
You're giving it a 10?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Is that okay?
Yeah, definitely.
I'm going crazy with the numbers. So value for money. So this van was listed at £85,000.
No, 92,000.
Oh.
93,000.
I obviously looked at the wrong sign. So £93,000. Ooh, so that's a bit of a spanner in the works then.
So value for money. The thing is as well, is do you want to spend £100,000 on a Fiat Ducato?
And we've already had a Fiat Ducato. And it's like, do we want to go backwards and have that? Or
And the drive of a Fiat Ducato is fine, isn't it? But it's not.
But it's only
100,000,
fine.
yeah.
It's not like, oh my God, this is so amazing.
Would you want to sort of wait and get like a bit of a Mercedes drive?
Well, if you can stretch to 100,000...
You could probably stretch to 120.
Yeah, or 110 for the last Mercedes we talked about.
Okay, so...
5 value for money? Because that isn't...
okay.
I
think so.
So, the next van we looked at is like the amazing, all bells and whistles, brand new Grand Canyon S700.
Yeah. I've always liked the crossovers. If you know about the Hymer crossover 4x4, but the problem I had was this wasn't long enough.
Yeah.
And I thought they should make one of these but longer.
Yeah.
And they have, and this is it. It's the Grand Canyon S700 basically.
So you get a much bigger garage, obviously because it's longer.
But not as big as it should be.
Well, that was the thing. It was like it's a garage underneath the bed, and the bed is sleeping lengthways, which is amazing. But the garage has already got loads of storage built into it.
Yeah.
So it's like...
Good storage.
Yeah, good
so
storage, but not as big a garage as you might think it is.
So, okay.
So the garage was a bit of a weird one.
Yeah, but it's not nowhere near like a 9 or 10. I think it's a...
7?
Yeah.
Engine power, so it's...
Really good.
Yeah, 190 brake horsepower
10.
again, so 10 out of 10.
Dimensions. Long. It's a very long van, isn't it?
Yeah.
7 metres, I think these Sprinters are.
And where it's 4x4 and it's got that stance of being up a bit off the ground and it's got a pop top, when I walked up to it, I was like, whoa, this looks massive.
Yeah, which I love.
So it depends if you want it to be like that or not.
Yeah, but the length of it for parking in car parks.
Yeah.
But again, you can't really talk about parking in car parks when you're talking about big camper vans, can you?
No.
And again, I'm more focused on off-grid living than I am going into cities anyway.
Yeah.
So good.
Dimensions.
So not great, but with limitations, I think 8.
Okay. The layout on the inside, well, as you would expect from this kind of van, was amazing.
Yeah.
It was really nice, really beautifully put together, really nice quality, being a Hymer, you would expect. Nothing less, really.
Yeah.
So layout inside is a 10.
Oh, 10. So you wouldn't change anything?
No.
Okay, that's good.
I really liked it.
Great.
And I like the fact that it's got a big double bed downstairs and it's got the pop top.
Okay.
So you can spread out.
Off-grid.
Well, off-grid power capability, I mean, it's got a massive, just the off-grid power is amazing. It's got a 100-litre inboard water tank. You know, you could be off-grid in this van for a long time.
Okay.
So that's a 10.
And off-road capability 10 as well.
Yeah, because it's a 4x4.
Yeah.
Just, that's what it's made to do. So the payload is good because it's a bigger van.
Yeah, okay.
So what's that? 10? Or a 9?
Let's give it a 9.
Okay. Value for money. So this van comes in, brace yourselves, for a eye-watering £137,000.
Yeah, that's a lot of money.
But it's a hell of a van.
Yeah, you get a lot for your money. But is it value for money? These vans you can buy for £80,000
Yeah.
new.
Yeah.
So how much is that
of the build?
That would leave you with about 50 grand.
7,000.
Yeah.
So you could build it cheaper, obviously inside, but then you've got the brand Hymer for resale value and all that sort of stuff. So I think an 8.
Okay, and also just to compare it to so we briefly looked at the Hymer Grand Canyon Crossover S. That's the same as the S700, but on a shorter wheelbase. That comes in at 132,000. So for an extra 5 grand, you get a much bigger van with the S700.
Yeah,
so
which is amazing.
That is good value for money if you're comparing the two vans next to each other.
Yeah.
Okay, so moving on to something totally different now. This was a bit of a curveball, and we've looked at these online before.
Oh, yeah.
It's a Chausson S695, S695 Sportline, and it's basically like a little camper van and a motorhome hybrid. So it's not massively wide like a lot of motorhomes are.
Oh, yeah. This was a curveball, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because I normally, and we always normally go for like camper vans, don't we?
Yeah.
Whether they're big or small camper vans rather than motorhomes. I just think camper vans are a bit more rugged. You can get down narrower lanes in Scotland or Wales or wherever. And I just don't like the look of motorhomes either.
They're a bit more us, aren't they, camper vans?
Exactly. So when we walk past this, it has the width just about of a camper van, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Which is amazing. And the space you get inside was weirdly phenomenal, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. The garage and size of garage, because it's like a little motorhome,
It was good, wasn't it?
it was amazing. It was a massive, massive garage. So I'll give that a 10. The engine power, it was 165 brake horsepower, so it's basically a Ford Transit Trail base.
That's good. 8.
So we'll give that an 8. Dimensions, I mean, probably another 8.
Yeah, not perfect because it is a little bit wider than a van, but not. It's like I think it was 202 meters 10 rather than 2 meters 5.
Yeah.
So, yeah, fine. Not perfect though.
7.
Yeah.
So the layout inside, it was a really good layout, but there was a completely random oven
Oh yeah, do you remember that?
in there that would just bug me forever.
Yeah.
So I think let's just give that a 6 for the layout inside. However, it was really spacious and the bed looked really nice. So off-grid power capability, it doesn't really have any.
Well, it has a battery and a solar
Yeah.
panel, I'm sure, but nothing sort of to write home about, is it?
No, so it's like 5
Okay.
for that.
And off-road,
Well,
bad.
yeah, probably
3.
a 3.
Yeah.
Maybe a 4 though, because it's a transit trail, so it might be
Oh yeah, I think they have a,
like a,
what do they call it? A limited slip diff on the front axle.
yeah, so maybe a 4 instead of a
Okay,
3.
yeah.
And the payload, I've got 600 kilo payload on my notes.
Really? Wow.
Because the garage was so massive. So what's that?
I thought it was a 3.5 ton van. That must be light inside then. Maybe it is because of the shell on the back.
Yeah.
If that is true, then that's good.
Okay, well let's go for an 8 then with the payload.
Okay.
Value for money. So this is why this is a curveball. This van comes in at £67,000, which is amazing value for money.
I think so. I mean, don't get me wrong though, the build quality wasn't great, I didn't think. I think it was very, very, I was going to say IKEA, but actually worse than IKEA.
Well, I think going from looking at a Hymer build to this, you can see the difference
It was
in the
cheap,
quality.
wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was cheap, but at that price,
It's
you
not going to be.
you can't discount it, can you?
Yeah, it's not going to be like a Hymer for like half the
Okay,
price.
so value for money, I think that's great.
8.
Yeah.
Okay.
Next.
So the next one is a new. Am I right in saying the Malibu Genius is a new one to the market?
It is, yeah.
Yeah. So this is kind of like the Hymer crossover type vibe, isn't it?
But this year they've brought out, so it's rather than a medium wheelbase Sprinter van, which is 6 metres long, and the long wheelbase Sprinter van, which is 7 metres long, they've added like a half a metre extension. So it's 6.5 metres long, I think.
Yeah.
And you've got the quality from Malibu,
Yeah.
and it was pretty nice, wasn't it?
It looked really, really good actually. So the garage, obviously the extension makes it that little bit bigger at the back. So the garage and the garage size was really good, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think it was really good.
We'll give that a 9, or
Oh, I don't know.
is
Not
that
a
too
9.
high? Because actually
8, I think.
an 8. Looking at it, it's not as big as I remember. So engine power, Malibu Genius.
It'd be the 190, I assume, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, so that's a 9. Dimensions, Well, I think the dimensions are really good.
Really good.
It is that hybrid between the
Yeah.
longer and the shorter wheelbase, so it's best of both worlds.
Because having that half a metre inside meant you can sleep long ways.
Yeah, but you're not
Yeah.
7 metres, so what do you reckon, 9 or 10?
Oh, I don't know. 10's
Perfect.
Although it is good, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, 10.
So the layout on the inside,
I love the layout on the inside.
yeah, it was a really good
9.
layout. Yeah, okay. So off-grid power capability, it actually didn't have a diesel heater, weirdly enough.
Okay.
And for such a kind of off-grid looking van, that was a bit of a, well, that's weird. So let's go, 7?
Yeah. Off-road. Well, this van comes with as the 4x4 chassis and not the 4x4 chassis. So it depends what you want.
Yeah.
So
But we were looking at the 4x4 chassis.
yeah, that was good, wasn't it?
So we'll give that a 10 because it is designed to
Okay.
be off-road in that respect. So the payload, we couldn't, I don't think we could work it out exactly, but because it's a bigger van, a heavier van, the 4-tonner, you can kind of assume that it
Yeah, I
would
think
be
it
a
was nearly.
better
Look
payload.
at that. I think it was nearly a ton of payload there.
Oh, okay, so
Yeah,
the
so that's
payload's
good.
amazing
Yeah,
then.
yeah.
Is that a 10?
Yeah, I think so.
So value for money, this one came in at £144,000. So the most expensive van that we looked at.
Yeah, but they're being not cheeky because they've extended it and it's new to the market. I think that's.
I don't think that's as good value for money
Yeah.
as, like, compare it to the Hymer S700. That's like, I think that's a better van, but for less
Okay,
money.
so it's not good.
So let's go 6.
Or less than that.
5? 4.
4, I think.
Okay. And
Next
then
van.
that brings us on to the final van. So the final van we looked at is, again, one we looked at last year. And
I think this is my favourite.
yeah, we love this van. Spoiler alert.
Yeah, I liked it last year as well.
The Yukon 7.
7.0.
Oh,
apparently.
7.0.
So let's go for garage and size
Okay.
then.
So this one has an amazing garage, like top marks, I think, for this, doesn't it?
I think. Well, but again, top marks. I think is that Adria. That's a 10. This isn't a 10 for the garage.
Okay, so garage on this one, 8.
Yeah,
Okay. Engine power,
10.
10. Dimensions.
Well, the same as whatever the Hymer S700
yeah,
was.
because it's the same.
yeah.
So that's an 8. Layout on the inside, I really like the
I
layout.
love this one.
Yeah.
This is my favourite one.
It feels really homely and spacious, and
Yeah.
it's like 4 seatbelt points, sleeps 4 people.
Pop top.
Yeah,
if you
pop
want to.
top. You got room to spread out. I think this is a 10.
Yeah.
And I think it's nice quality as well.
Yeah.
So off-grid power capability.
Well, it's got a 300 amp hour lithium-ion battery and solar panels. You know, inboard water, diesel heater.
Yeah.
It's
it's
good.
all of it. So
Yeah.
that's a 10.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Off-road, perfect.
10. Payload
Yeah.
is good.
Again, the same as a lot because it's the heavier chassis.
Mm.
Then you can get loads of stuff in it, can't you?
Yeah. And that is 10 for that? Or a 9?
I don't know. I think so. 10, whatever. Yeah, the other ones was.
The other ones were scored 10.
Okay.
And it's the same. So value for money. This one, the Yukon comes in at £130,000.
Okay.
So they had it reduced at the show, that particular model.
So the thing again, it's very similar to the
The
Hymer S700.
Yeah.
So value for money. Again, these vans are £80,000, £85,000 to buy without the camper van inside. So I think it's good with the
Yeah.
battery, the lithium, and all that sort of stuff. It's very similar to the Hymer, to be honest.
Yeah.
But the Hymer's a bit more expensive, so I think it's better than the Hymer.
So 9 or an 8?
I think an 8.
Okay. So that's it. That is all the vans that we looked at as potential candidates.
So before we score them up, what van is your favourite? If you had the money now, what would you buy?
If we had the money right now, I think the Hymer S700 would
I
be.
thought you said you didn't like the colour.
If you could get it in grey, can you get it in grey?
I don't know. Do you know that? I don't think so.
No.
Because it was sort of desert sand colour,
Yeah.
wasn't it?
If
And
you
we
could-
like the darker
yeah.
colours.
If you could get the Hymer S700 in a grey, That would be my favourite.
Okay.
But if you couldn't, then the Yukon.
Yeah, I think personally the Yukon is my favourite, which is, when I see the Mercedes 4x4s, especially the long wheelbase ones, they just make me drool. I just absolutely love it. It's like I'm meant to have one.
Yeah.
But the problem is you need the money to buy it.
Yeah.
So, because they're very, very expensive. But then, is it worth saving for that? They last. They keep their value, don't they?
Yeah, they do. So it's an investment, isn't it?
And the way I'm trying to think of it is that if we get something like this to work and travel in, it's like buying a holiday home in Spain, for instance, or a holiday apartment. And actually, when you think about that, 130,000 is a bargain, because you could be in Iceland one day and you could be in Morocco, anywhere. It's moving your amazing apartment going anywhere, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like a mobile.
That's my excuse for
holiday
wanting to buy a
home.
camper van anyway. So, let's be analytical.
Yeah, let's add them up.
2 minutes, we'll be back and we're going to add them up.
Okay.
All done?
That's all done.
So, before we tell the people, who's in, we need to have a first, second or third. Don't say anything, just write it down.
Okay.
What the first is. Okay, so in third place we have
The Expedition with a score of 68 out of 80. And in second place, we have the Hymer S700 with 72 out of 80.
And in first place
Is the Yukon 7.0 so they got a score of 76 out of 80.
Okay, so it looks like I like Mercedes 4x4s.
You think?
So that's good and bad news. The good news is that they're awesome. The bad news is they're expensive.
Yeah.
So we've got to get saving. I love the Yukon.
Yeah, I love the Yukon too, because when we looked at it last year, it was like, oh my God, this van's amazing. It's everything that the Hymer is.
But I do like the Hymer. And
Yeah.
I think, was it £7,000 difference?
Yeah,
I think I'd get the Hymer.
yeah,
Because the only reason I think it's worth the 7,000 just for the Hymer name, because I think resale value and it will last that much more.
that's why I said it earlier.
Yeah, you're right. You're completely right. So I think even though the Yukon came first, I
Yeah.
think the Hymer is the best one.
If you could stretch to it, I think you'd probably
Yeah.
get a better resale value for it, because it's a much better known van brand, isn't it?
Yeah.
Hymer. Yukon are only sort of new to the market, aren't they?
Yeah. So, well, there you have it. Thanks for watching. If you've watched this far, it's been a bit of a journey, and it still is our little camper van journey, isn't it?
Yeah.
But I think we're getting there. We're sort of knowing what we want. We just need to work harder, save harder. But we've got some good clients coming in at the moment, haven't we?
Yeah.
We're busy. And if you're interested about what we do for a living, I'll leave some links in the description. So how long is this video now? 37 minutes, I think. Is that 37 minutes? Yeah, 37 minutes. So sorry this has taken so long, but
it's good that we're being analytical, because where we've already had 2 vans and we want to buy our third van, but we want this van to be one that we keep for a really long time.
yeah, and we've got, our circumstances are, we need power, capability, I would like to be off-grid, 4x4, off-grid, and we need to take lots of gear with us.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit, if the gear wasn't the problem, we could have something quite cheaper,
Yeah.
couldn't we?
Yeah.
But it's the payload that's the problem for us.
Yeah. But we want to be analytical, because we want to get the decision right.
Okay, so thanks for joining us. Don't forget to like and subscribe to this video if you're interested, if you want to do that. And don't forget to hit and follow the Jamie's Adventures Instagram page. I could do with a few more follows there, please.
Oh, and let us know, out of the vans that we looked at, if you have a different favourite to
Oh
us.
yes, please do. Because a comment about anything we've said, if you think we're crazy spending this much, we're not going to spend, because the idea is to sort of see in the future. But let us know what you think and what you would do if you were us as well.
Any advice gratefully received.
Exactly. But thanks for having us, and I shall catch you in the next video. Does it look like we're reading the news?
Maybe. Let's just let's go with it.
Okay.